Are we up and running? Good morning, good morning. No outside camera to start off with today. We're up on the third floor and it doesn't reach that far, of course. So that's a different splash screen today from last night's editing work. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's hot up here. Actually, it's not quite so bad. It's been way, way worse. What is it up here today? We're up on the third floor. We're looking at 32 degrees, not so bad. Not so bad. Today's Saturday morning. I sized, not Friday night, Thursday night. No, Thursday morning I was sizing. I can't even remember when it was. And it was 39 degrees up here. It nearly hit 40. Right now they're open. The window is open here. The window is open at the front. There's no breeze, but at least there's some air movement. When I was sizing on Thursday, the printers were here and they shut their doors and put their air conditioner on. So that's fine up at the other end. But down here with the doors shut, there's no breeze. Concrete roof open to the sunshine. Maybe if I'd gone up there and splashed some water on the roof, it might have helped. I don't know. No idea. Anyway, it doesn't matter, just for a few minutes. People ask, why don't we put air conditioning in? Whatever, it's pointless. There's no insulation here. It's a bare concrete building. There just wouldn't be any point to it. And we don't use this room that often. I do sizing. I'll be here for half an hour, hour and a half, and then I'll be out of here. There's just no point to even thinking about it. Doesn't matter. In winter, I like it. It's okay. I like being cold. John saying my hair. Yeah, what's happened, of course, it's just so damp. I mean, yesterday was a typhoon. So before the typhoon got here, the humidity here was like 99 or whatever the max is. Everything's damp. We could actually print. You could get a piece of paper, you could print it without moistening it because it works. So everything. I'm wet now. My shirt is wet. Everything's wet. So when I sleep, I'm wet. And you sleep, it's like sleeping on wet hair. Here, I'm sweating. Just there's water everywhere. Can't be helped. The roof door is open. It's trying to draw some out. The roof door is open, believe me. Does the air conditioning affect the printers? Boy, I would never use it myself. Never, never, never. But these guys are prioritizing themselves over the work, and it makes it difficult. The room is dry, the paper gets crispy, the air conditioner itself blows jets, and Ishikawa-san, she's got a little barrier built around her bench so that the air movement doesn't sweep across. It's nothing but trouble. But as an employer, I have to provide them with this. I can't expect them to sit there all day in 39 degrees. I looked like a ninja. Whatever. I saw that NHK program, and man, I think I looked 99 years old. I'm not actually happy with that. I thought I looked happy. I was trying to be in front of the camera and happy and cheerful. And I saw the program yesterday, and it looks like this 99-year-old guy at the end of his life. So, update on the program. It's been broadcast once. It's going to be broadcast again at 8:10, 7 minutes from now. But it's already on the VOD section. I see people are posting links here. So Microhex, thank you. That's the link where you can see it. I believe it'll be there for 2 months. How old am I? I'm 72, but in that video I look like 99. Anyway, let's get to work. As you can see, it's going to be sizing today. I'm sizing some paper for Chiharu-san, the lady we saw in that video. And her corner was really nice. Did you see her room? My God, she must be rich. I think we're paying her too much. That's where all our money goes. Oh, 2 years it says it's available. Okay, no idea. Okay, let's get the liquid. I'm not cooking any fresh dosa this morning. I did a batch on Thursday. I made 4 liters, and 2 liters of it is still left. It's been sleeping in the fridge for the past couple of days. It's been heating up here now for the past hour or so. This has been heating up. We got 2 liters. We're going to be using not quite half of it this morning. Okay, the brush is hard. Give the brush a few minutes to soften up. Paper is waiting. It's off to the left here. You can't see it. You'll see the sheets as I bring them out one at a time. Will there be questions about the shirt? There already is questions. Number 1 from my daughter. She freaked. She freaked. Tom's asking, is the paper out? Yes, it is. Day-chan is here today. Her paper is out, and it's over in her room. I haven't turned on the air conditioners over there. That's going to be something she can handle when she gets there. What's the temperature here? Right now it says 32. Okay, paper. We have a couple of things happening here today. We have paper for Chiharu-san, and we have 20 plus 20. Just a minute, is that correct? 20 plus 20. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we have 20 plus 20, which means there's a 40 sheet deck for Chiharu-san. And below that, I have some special sheets of paper. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 extra sheets. 4 of them are paper from Murata-san, which we are testing, and 2 of the sheets in here are paper from Jason. Mr. Sensei Martian, the paper he made, we have some of it has come to the work front here, and we will be testing his paper this week. So I've got to size it first. So I don't know if Jason's watching, but we're going to be sizing his paper. Okay, 2020. So I don't know. We normally do a batch of 30. We get there in time for show and tell and hang it up. I'm not sure how it's going to go today. We'll see. There's no clay in this paper from Murata-san. This paper is not for Mokuhankan's use, as in an Iwano-san style paper. At the moment, Murata-san and her employer, Shimizu-san, they are trying to create for me a general purpose paper that will be usable for as many people as possible, people overseas doing Japanese type woodblock printmaking. We're looking for a strong, reasonably priced, general purpose paper of a traditional type. And this is the kind of stuff we're experimenting with right now. Okay, I'm going to get started. I'm going to be doing the same thing now for over an hour. Those of you who are maybe new here, there's something else going on. 1 minute from now, over on NHK, they will be broadcasting a program about our work, about a 5-minute short program. So if you want to bail out and go over there and watch it, we have a link to the NHK World Live page. There's the live page. So 1 minute from now, our program goes live there for 5 minutes. So if you want to bail out and go over there and watch that, away you go. Questions about the paper. If you did find a way to make the paper involving machinery, there's all kinds of people doing that. More people all over Japan are doing that. In the very village that I went to talk to Murata-san, on every corner there's the sound of machinery. People are making this kind of paper with machines. It's been done. That's not what we want to do. Okay, let me get to work. You can bail out for 5 minutes. Our weather today is, of course, much better than yesterday. We were at the edge of a typhoon yesterday. Now that's gone away. Later in the year, we will have this phenomenon where maybe sometime in late September or October, as a typhoon passes Japan or moves away, behind it there's an influx of cold northern air, clear cold air. We know that autumn is here. That's not happening this time. This typhoon has left and it's dragged behind it more humid tropical air. So it's stinky hot and sweaty here today, but nowhere near as bad as it was yesterday. We're going to do both sides of these sheets. I've got 40 pieces of paper here. Which one is margins? I'll talk it out when we get to it. First I've got a batch of 40 sheets of 40 pieces of Iwano Sans paper. Then when that's done, we will, at the end of it, we will slip in some Udatsu paper and 2 pieces of margins paper. I'll talk you through it when we get there, so don't worry, you won't miss it. And I'm going to have trouble with it. Jason's paper is extremely, and I mean extremely thin. You will easily tell which one it is. And I'll be struggling with it. So don't worry about missing it. We'll talk us through it. You're approaching 30. How has your experience been past the age of 30? What? Wait a minute. Whatever, it's impossible to answer that, except one perhaps small little thing. When I was 29, I made my first woodblock print. So what else can I say? For me, life started at 30. Or, the life, the person that is the person you're seeing here now. The guy who is standing here and talking to you. Life started at 30. Some saying, will the pieces on the bottom get more wet? No, not at all. In fact, just as an example, the piece I just did, we can actually pick it up already. It's a piece of paper. It's moistened on the top. It's not yet moistened on the bottom. There's no liquid pouring over the desk here. There's not enough liquid going in here to do more than just moisten the paper. We're not saturating or soaking this. How's our time? I guess the NHK program is over. Is everybody back? That was a funny, weird little program. Very weird program. It was nothing about what we wanted to talk about or tell. Everything you heard me say there, she asked me, literally, no exaggeration here, hundreds of questions. The part you see there with me talking with the shop in the background, I was sitting on a stool, 2 cameras facing me, lights, and she prompted me, and her executive producer prompted her. And I didn't know what they were trying to get. I didn't know the theme that they were trying to show. And they just kept prompting me with questions and questions and questions until I said something that matched what they wanted to hear in the program. But they didn't tell me what they wanted me to say, like, obviously. And it was crazy. They would ask me something, and then I would answer it quite nicely, I thought. Then they would ask it again with the words twisted, prompting me to answer it in a different way. Just whatever. It was kind of frustrating, actually. Anyway, whatever. Nothing evil, nothing bad. I'm not upset. Of course not. It's just, sometimes it's a bit frustrating. If it were a program that I was being hired to do, they give you a script and away you go, you accept it or not. If it's a sort of a documentary thing, they come and they don't know what to expect and they shoot and things happen as you go along. This is neither. This is a sort of a semi-propaganda program where they have a message that they're trying to display. I don't even know what the message is. Foreigners can live in Japan and become integrated and become a good part of society. It's kind of a I don't know. I mean, you know what's facing Japan? Japan desperately needs more immigration. They will have to do this. They're stopped. They don't want to do it. They have to do it. They're trying to figure out a way how it could be done. So programs like this are a little bit of, they're the warm up to try and teach the general population it will be possible to do immigration. You can have people come to Japan and work together with Japanese people and be happy, and we'll all live happily ever after. It's kind of that kind of propaganda. Am I upset about this? No, because I live that way. That's the way I'm living. We're just showing something that I'm actually living. But at the end of the day, that's what this is about. And maybe to be non-cynical about it, Japan needs this. Japan sees the news, immigrants to Germany 30 years ago, immigrants to England, blah, 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 trouble. They see that all around the world. They face the oncoming thing. They are going to have to accept immigration. How to make it happen? It's a real, legitimate, concrete problem. And maybe, just maybe, programs like this are perhaps a little baby step to try and help make the thing happen smoothly. So I shouldn't be too cynical about this. Maybe actually I'm a good role model here. I don't know. Is somebody counting? I'm certainly not. I've got it in 2 groups, 20 and 20. We're still not finished the first 20. Okay, it's going well today. And at this temperature, at this kind of environment, sizing is dead easy. Come back in the middle of winter, and this is one tough game. But what we're doing right now, it's quote unquote easy. I didn't know it when I was first learning this, but it turns out that both for the sizer here and for the printers using it later, when the paper is warm and it's all soft, there's a bigger window of margin of error. If you wanted to get it right exactly here, and it turns out you're there or here, you're okay in summer because it's soft enough, it behaves, you can still print. But in winter, the margin of error is much narrower. If there's a bit too much glue in the paper, the printers complain, janko, the pigment doesn't go inside. If there's not enough glue in the paper, the printers complain because it peels off at the back. But in summer, we have a much wider variation. It's much easier. When we were training our printers here, we started last year, we trained them, we had them make their own paper glue in the summer. And by the time the winter came, they were, a bit more experienced. They could handle it a bit better. I'm dumping too much at the end there. That's not good. No, the sizing at the moment, all the printers who work in the building are doing their own sizing, as we set up last year. Ishikawa-san, Dei-chan, Ayumi-san, all the printers who work here now, they just check off with me. They come here, they stand here, and they do it themselves. It's the outside printers. Today I'm working for Chiharu-san, the lady you saw in that video. There's no way she doesn't know how to do it, to disrupt her work and ask her to pick this up and learn how to do it and rearrange her kitchen or whatever. It's completely not practical. I mean, 100% not practical. So somebody here, for the outside printers, somebody here has to do it. And at the moment, it's yours truly. Part of it for the printers here, they realize if they don't learn how to do it, their future is a little bit iffy. If I'm the only one that can do this, and if and when something happens to me, then the whole organization is toast. So the printers here, although they didn't really want to do it, they recognized that it was an essential part of their job. Okay, here's sheet number 20. I split the 40 sheets into half and half. So this is number 20. So this will mean we're 1/4 through the main batch. It's 8:22. I don't think we're going to get a real active live show and tell here today, for those of you who are waiting for that. Thinking about the timetable here. 20, 40, Udatsu paper, Jason paper, flip it, hang it up. I kind of doubt there will be a show and tell here today. That's 21. Yeah, it's like a primer. That's the best way to think about this, actually. Yes. It's like a primer. Yeah, I should start using that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's like a kind of undercoat before we put the pigments into the paper. Someone's talking about the mulberry bark. Quick, imagine that this was going to become a great wave. Remember, you saw me picking the chiri out of the great wave the other day. Imagine that this batch is for waves. It's not, but it would be the same process. Here we go. This piece of paper is going to become a great wave. Should I reject it at this point? Let's see. The wave will come here. There'll be a wide open space here. Should I look for... There's a little black spot there. Throw this piece away. It doesn't make sense. That's not how we can do it. We have to get back to the source. We can't do it sheets one by one at any stage. Look too, after I moisten it, boom, I can now see the dots easier because the paper's wet. At this point, I can see the chitty dots. Was that a chocolate egg comment? What have I missed? Remind me. Did I miss acknowledging something? Chocolate egg comment. Oh, the primer. Yeah. Oh, okay, I didn't think about that. I'm sorry. I don't even know who we're talking to. If you guys want to throw some eggs around, please do. Okay, I'm sorry about that. It's how much stuff I can keep in my head. All right. Also, going back to the NHK program for a second, I see that our corner, the Twitch corner, got 6 seconds in that program. 6 seconds, and the chat was there for 4 seconds, and it was all blurred out. I guess the lawyer side of the thing got cold feet. they were worried, she was worried that something would slip by. And actually, Hontoni, I can put a lot of the blame for this on Mr. Becker here. Because that day we were doing this, he tried to slide through something that would have been ha ha ha, a funny moment. But we caught it, and I made, perhaps this was a mistake, I explained to her what had happened. And I think that's probably what's put her off. I promised her, look, I went through the whole thing. There's nothing bad there. Please, relax. There's nothing that's going to be blah, 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 blah. But I don't think she believed me, or her lawyers didn't believe me. So, so we can blame it on John again. Maybe. Here he is. It's my fault as usual. It's okay. John, take an egg. It's okay. I don't care. The laugh was worth it. You're trying real hard, John. Real hard. Keep trying. Although thinking about it more, what might have really killed that part, we talked about this before they came for this program, you know. Streaming here in Japan at the moment still is a bit dicey. There's been lots of high profile events, not so much the last couple of weeks or whatever, but if you go back a few months, there's been high profile events where foreigners streaming in Japan have been trouble. We don't need to explain the whole thing again. But in general, and for Mr. and Mrs. Suzuki, the Japanese public, to mention streaming, first they will go, huh? What do you mean? Then when you explain it, they'll say, oh, I read about that in the news, and it will be a negative thing. And that really still is here. Now, of course, there's nothing negative about what we're doing, but the editors and producers of this particular little program, there's no reason for them to think, we will fight against that image. We will try and show that streaming is really a good idea. That wasn't part of their program meaning, you know. So there was no hill for her to die on this. So she just simply showed, blah, blah, Dave is using social media. Click, 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 next, next, next. So in retrospect, we shouldn't have expected any more than that. So it's okay, doesn't matter. Remember, they had their goals, they had their plan, and they came and achieved it. Chop. Is someone asking you why a brush and not a sponge? I'm sorry, I don't know. I think it's kind of obvious. Our brush here is a wonderful tool for applying this liquid to the surface of this sheet. If I were trying to use a sponge, man, I don't know how I would get it even. I don't know, I'm sorry. It's funny you mentioned the wallpapering, because we did that here when we built our shop. It was 10 years ago now, of course. You know, when we built the second floor shop here, Dave had kind of fancy ideas about how he wanted it to look. And we had a little budget, and we didn't have much time. Anyway, I ordered fancy wallpaper. It's still there. The room that we're using for our accounting department now on the second floor. And we put wallpaper on, and it was old-fashioned wallpaper, like with paste. We had to paste it on the back and hang it up. You haven't lived until you've done that. I'll never, ever, ever, ever do such a thing again. But it seemed like a good idea at the time. The goal we wanted, the particular heavy kind of wallpaper we wanted. Okay, we're almost finished the first half here. What have we got left? Oh, about 5 or 6 sheets left. We're coming to the end of the 40 sheets. What is it? Oh, I spoke a bit too soon. There's about 6 or 7 left. Hang on. John, keep digging, okay? Actually, it's funny, you know, this silly thing, John's here having fun with this. You're actually almost correct in that comment. The woodsmen who selected and harvested trees. You're almost right, John. The deal is, it's not a daily cycle, it's a yearly cycle. Trees flourish during the summer, sap comes up, they grow wood and they get bigger. The kind of trees we're talking about, the cherry trees, whatever, the leaves fall off in the autumn, the tree sleeps for the winter. The best time, and I've had this from Shimano-san, the guy who did our blocks, they were harvested in early morning for tree cycle. In other words, spring, late winter, early spring, before the sap rises, before the wood gets all moist again. The core of the tree is at its driest part. Boom, down she comes. And away you go with the beginning of the process of drying it out. So in terms of the 1 year cycle, yeah, it's morning woods. Are we still digging or what? I think that's nothing specific for woodblock printmakers, people harvesting wood, hardwoods and stuff for furniture making. I believe that's the way it's done pretty much anywhere around the world. You would harvest your trees, stuff that you're looking for good quality, high quality lumber. You would harvest them at the end of winter before the sap starts rising. So I am told. I am not a woodsman. There may be people here with more knowledge than I. Is there a benefit from laying the sheets on top of each other? Well, I mean, I can't spread them around. And of course, if I spread them around one by one, they would start to dry. We don't want them to dry yet. We're going to be doing the back side of these. If you hang around for a few more minutes, you'll see what happens. These sheets of paper are going to get coated both sides. So if I isolated them at this point, they would start to dry and it would spoil the whole thing. And I'm doing 40 sheets here. This is nothing. This is peanuts. Misawa-san, the guy I used to get my paper sized by before he and I had a falling out. For most of the years I was making prints, the first half of my career, this was done by an outside craftsman. I ordered my paper from the papermaker. The papermaker sent it to the sizer. He sized the batch all at once and then sent it to me. And I was ordering paper in like batches of 500 sheets. So the sizer gets this batch, calls me up, what do you want with this one? I'm telling him, yeah, do it this way, do it this way. And he does this with 500 sheets. Now, did he do all 500 in one large stack? I don't think so, because his routine was he would do this until noon. Start in the morning and do this until noon. Cover it up, take a lunch break, come back after lunch and hang it up. So for him, it wouldn't have been 500, it would have been however many he could do in the 3/4 hours that he was doing the job for. Okay, now I have a bit of a decision to make. The paper that we're going to add to our stack here, we have to do some udatsu sheets, an adjacent sheet, but it's smaller. It's smaller, so should I start its own stack or can I cheat? Let's try this. This could be a disaster. Let's try. I have U, just a second. 1, 2, 3, U, J, U. 6, and 2 sheets of J. Okay, let's try this. We have 1, which is the front side, which is the back. It's hard to tell. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I have 6 pieces of Udatsu paper and 2 pieces of Jason paper. It's actually, these are bigger pieces cut in half. So let's try this. I'm going to lay this on top here. Live dangerously. Live dangerously. Boom. Look at the different color. Can you see the different color? It's much more of a natural color. The Iwano paper has white clay inside. This Udatsu paper has no clay, and it's also got a hell of a lot of chili. This is kind of a test paper, and what they're doing, we're testing different formulations and whatever. So this paper is not intended to be used for prints that are going to be sold. It's all test runs, so. I can't put extra size. Look at this, look at the chili. You can see it from there. This is not production paper at all. Can you see it? How's our time? 8:35. Ooh. Okay, these are the Udatsu sheets now done. Okay, we now have Jason paper. Is Sensei here? This is the stuff they gave me the label. We're going to leave the label on it. I've put the name J on it here. Oh, Jason, this is so thin, you know. We're going to try it. Is Sensei here or is he out walking? No idea. This is Jason paper. It's thin, thin, thin. Okay, halfway. Look at that. Perfect. Flipped, ready to pull out, and with a plastic cover to protect it from drying while we are doing this. Are we good at this, or? Okay, back half. Okay, this is Iwano paper again. We'll do 40 sheets of Iwano, 6 sheets of Udatsu, and then 2 sheets of Jason at the end here. The back half begins. Oh, Sensei's here. He just missed it. Jason sucked. Okay, Jason, an update. One of your sheets I got from Udatsu. I received a package of your paper. This is for Sensei margin. There were 4 sheets, and you did 1, 2, was 4, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4 sheets. I took one of the 4. I've cut it in half. It's in our batch, and it will go out for printing on Monday. So the printing that Shiharu-san is doing this next week will be used also. So you'll get some prints from that batch. 3 of your sheets I haven't touched. They're still here waiting for you to pick them up later. The ingredients for sizing, what we're using at the moment, this is all weather dependent, so don't take my numbers as gospel here. What we're using right now on this hot day is granulated Nikawa, 45 grams per liter of water. We are using alum, crystal alum, at 17.5% of the glue weight. So for each liter of water, there's 45 grams of granulated glue. And then do the math. What's 17.5% of 45 grams? That's how much alum is also dissolved in there. That's today's mix. In winter, as the paper gets colder and stronger, we decrease both of those things, the Nikawa glue and the alum. In fact, this is nearly max, depending on the temperature and depending on the softness of the paper. Looking good. Does a liquid constant? No, it doesn't change. It doesn't change. And as soon as I'm finished here this morning, the stuff that I've got left, it's going to go back in the bottle and it goes in the fridge. Not the freezer, it goes in the fridge. And within seconds, it coagulates. It turns into like jelly, like gelatin. This is what we're doing actually here. We are making gelatin. And gelatin will happily sit in the fridge for quite some time. And we don't keep it for too long. I would use that maybe, what's today? Today's Saturday. This stuff, I made it on Thursday, first batch. This is Saturday, second batch. If we don't use it by Monday, if I'm doing sizing Monday or Tuesday, I will toss this and start with a new batch. So we don't usually keep it more than a few days, certainly in summer. In winter, yes, I can hang around for a week or so. But in summer, no. It's just too dangerous. It's glue. And even though it's in the fridge, we don't want any chance of mold growing. There's lots of information on my website. If you dug around, if you went to woodblock.com, looked for the encyclopedia section, and in there somewhere, there's a bunch of pages with a collection of sizing recipes. There's information about that. I collected a bunch of recipes from old books and our own experience. I don't have any idea where the URL is. Woodblock.com, look for the encyclopedia. And it must be under Tools and Materials section. And there's something, I think it's called a collection of old sizing recipes. I don't remember. It's been years since I looked at it. But there's lots of information there. Well, the one qualification, those pages in that section, they were all written before I myself was doing sizing, or at least that collection of old recipes. So that doesn't reflect my own experience. It reflects collected experience. Quarter to 9. There's no way we're going to make show and tell today. Not even close. And so if you're here for the show and tell, just go home. I know we're not going to. It's not going to happen. There's no way. We have too much paper in the batch. How do we discard the glue we don't use? That's interesting. There'll only be like a 500 cc or something in there. So what I do is I run the tap, warm water. I fill it up with water and we dump it down the drain directly, followed by flushes. And it's diluted so much that it just runs down through. I don't have any problem with the idea. We're not dumping some toxic chemical. This is glue. This is made from cow bones. In fact, it's the exact same. If you made some soup and ate some soup and had some left over and it became moldy, down the drain it goes. So I got no problem with this. We don't put big lumps of congealed glue into the drain, of course. Stupid. We dilute it, warm water, and just flush the little bit down the drain. There's nothing toxic. We could drink this stuff. I'm just careful not to put a big lump in there in winter that might congeal and block the pipe, of course. Common sense. So just a little bit at a time, well diluted. You're asking how would people have come up with the idea of making glue like this from animal skins and stuff. It must have been a byproduct of cooking and whatever. People are cooking animal parts. You're hungry, you're going to cook anything. You're going to cook bones, you're going to cook skin, you're going to try and eat stuff if you're hungry enough. And it must have turned out, you know, some of the stuff they were trying to cook with, they meaning anybody back in the Neanderthal days or something. You cook up animal parts and you discover that the stuff gets awfully sticky after it cools down. So later on, when you're looking for something sticky, you've invented glue, you know. I think that's a no-brainer, I think. Going good so far, smoothly, no creases. I'm really at risk. It might crease towards the end of the stack here if I'm not careful. You're asking questions now that are going a little bit beyond what I can answer. Would my toenails work with glue? I'm sorry, I'm not even going to try that one. I have no idea. There must be experts in the chat here who can help you with that, I think. I certainly can't. It's fun to think about. You know, the paper I'm doing right now, as I mentioned, this is going to be sent to Chiharu-san. So it's Saturday morning in Tokyo. I'm going to do this. You will watch me. I'll be hanging it up, closing the room. Over the course of the day today, this paper will slowly, very slowly dry. Tomorrow morning, I come up here, crack open the doors, take the paper down, stack it up. I will slice it into the correct size, wrap it up, and send it off to Chiharu-san, the lady who you saw in that YouTube video, the one who's working in Nagano Prefecture. So Monday morning, she has requested her new job, which is why I'm doing this today. So she will receive the package Monday morning, open it up, and she will then take this same paper and she will moisten it ready for printing. She'll be cutting it in two this way, because the prints she's making will be long, thin prints. So she will slice each sheet in half lengthways. Oh, another little sidelight too, in that little program, the NHK program, you saw Chiharu-san. You also saw, coincidentally enough, that she was printing a great wave. Those are the great waves that we have right now. On Monday morning, when Naomi-san comes back to work after the weekend, Naomi-san will be sending out emails to the top, whatever it is, 40 or so or 50 people on the Great Wave waiting list. And that's the print, the very one that we saw in the video. NHK filmed it last week in her house. So the Great Wave print that we saw in the video there, that's the current batch. Boom. What does it smell like? There's no real smell. I'm not surrounded by an awful smell. If I put my nose right up to it, it smells like hot water. It smells more like soup than anything else, you know. There's no grotesque smell here. This is not like some terrible factory, people walking by the street. It smells like dead animals being boiled alive or something. It's not like that at all. As I stand here right now, I wouldn't even notice a smell. If somebody came into the room, they're not going to say, "Oh my God, what are you doing? What did you kill?" It's not like that at all. We don't get driven away by the neighbors. "Oh my God, they're doing that thing again next door. Call the police." Not at all. The people who make the gelatin, who like boil up dead cows, that might be a different story. But that's not what's happening here. I don't know. How do cows and horses get transformed into this glue? That's something I don't want to ask too closely. So there are some things that can stay in the barn. Yeah, that's right. John's got it. Even actually, I said there's no smeller, but that's not true because I've got the back window open. And Yoshikami, John's mentioned two restaurants, left and right. The smellier restaurant is the one behind us. It's Yoshikami. It's a very famous place. It's been here since the 1960s. It's a Showa Yoshoku restaurant. Yoshoku means Western food, and Showa era. We're talking 1950s, 1960s. They are famous. It's lineups at lunchtime. The guys all wear white chef's hat, and they are addressing them. They're putting themselves forward as classic Japanese Western food. And don't get excited. I mean, this is not real Western food. This is the Japanese housewives' idea of Western food circa 1957. It's the funny spaghetti with the ketchup on it and stuff like that. And they do this as a thing. And it's hugely, hugely popular. So every morning, I don't really feel it now, but every morning we wake up to the smell of their sauces being prepared. Their sauce, they're famous. This brown sauce, which has got ketchup and HP and all kinds of stuff mixed into it, mostly ketchup. They're famous for their sauce. It's classic Japanese Western food from that era. I mean, I said spaghetti, but if you're Italian, please don't come near within 5,000 miles of this. It's the funny, stringy stuff with ketchup on top, you know, cold. So that smell pervades our area, depending on which way the wind is going. It's not so bad today. For many Japanese, that's extremely nostalgic. In fact, somebody my age, if you're my age, 70s, whatever, and you're Japanese, that place, that's your childhood wrapped up there. That's what your mama used to make. It's what you got in school lunches. Your mom used to make this thing she would call hamburg rice or hayashi rice. It's the beginning of the era when the thing that you and I speak of as rice, it's split into two streams in Japan. Even now, I can go to whatever, if you went to the steak restaurant, well, I'm not sure there. If you go to whatever, a restaurant nearby, you get a bowl of the white stuff, and it's called gohan, and you eat it with chopsticks, you know, the stuff we call rice. It's called gohan, it's in a bowl. Go is the honorific, han is the... But next door here, it's not called gohan. You don't have hamburg steak and gohan. You have hamburger steak and rice. And it comes on a flat plate, not in a bowl, it's on a flat plate. It's half cold, and you eat it with a fork. It's the same substance, the same plant, but it's a different mental product. It's a different thing conceptually. So if you're in a Japanese restaurant, you eat gohan in a bowl with chopsticks. If you're in a yoshokuya, you eat rice on a plate with a fork. And for the Japanese person, they are two completely different foods. Rice. Okay, we're getting there. We're coming up to 9 o'clock. I've got a dozen sheets or so yet before we hit the Udatsu Jason pile. We're doing okay. We will be done by 9:30, I think, but I really doubt there's going to be much show and tell time. Let's just play it and see how it goes. it's Saturday morning. Actually, in a couple of minutes, in about 5 minutes from now, Sadako will be dropping in downstairs, and it's all locked up. It's locked and dark down there. I don't know if she realizes what's going on. She may think, oh my God, Dave died in his sleep last night or something. She'll probably run upstairs. I won't be there, and then she'll realize, ah, Sokka, he's probably doing a sizing stream. So we may see her at the top of the stairs here to say hello, or she may just get busy with the shop setting up downstairs. I don't know. Someone says he thinks Dave's clock is late. I believe I started today on time. I have no idea how much delayed this chat is or whatever, you know. If I just get into the chat here, if I get ready here, I'll do this, 9:04:10, I'll get ready, 7, 8, 9, 10. I put that number in at the exact moment that's what displayed on my screen. Okay, here's the last sheet in the main 40. That's 40 sheets. Someone wants another time check. Let me get ready. 9:05:40. 37, 38, 39, 40. Okay, here's Udatsu paper. It is thin, I gotta be careful, it's thin, thin, thin. Okay. It's then too much liquid on the back there. This paper is thinner. I've got to keep less liquid in the brush. It's not really critical. It's not going to destroy everything because, as I said, during the summer there's so much variation is acceptable. So we're okay, but I got to try and keep it correct. There's somebody coming upstairs. Good morning, good morning. Hello, hello. I wasn't sure whether to leave the key downstairs. You know what? You're okay with it. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Ah, soca in the fridge. I can say hello. We're just up here. You're too short. Sorry about that, excuse me. She must have come this morning and found nobody downstairs. It's all dark, nothing's locked up, and she's thinking Dave died in his sleep last night or something.
So. I knew.
So, you remembered it was a stream. So. Lots of people, Ohayou gozaimasu.
Ohayou gozaimasu. Okay. People can see my hand.
I'm on schedule. I'll be down there, 9:40 or something. Is able to clean up now. So thank you. Yep. Okay, the last two sheets. This is Jason's paper. Here we are. This is super, super thin stuff. I really don't know. We'll give it a go. It'll be difficult with Jason's. It's so thin, it'll be difficult to dry it smoothly. So here we go. Boom. One sheet. Ooh, I gotta be careful. It's okay. It'll print okay, but my God. And here's the very last sheet today. Here's the very last side. Okay. Done. Okay. Panic time. Don't panic time. Okay, there's no time to wash the brush right now, but the brush will go really hard if I'm not careful. So I'm going to wrap up the brush, leave it here. The heat still stays on. If I turn the heat off here, it will all be congealed by the time I came back from hanging. So cleaning up here will have to wait a while. But now we have to do our patented don't panic time and move into the next room. I'll get started. The mods can explain to you what's going on. We will try and keep it live all the way through, but because this camera up here is connected with a long cable, that camera will have to come out. The audio should stay live. Main camera coming down, I'll move the camera first. Whoa, that's one hot video box. Okay, camera going next door. I'll be back in a minute. Camera power. Where's the power? Cables, cables, cables. Oh, Taran-san moved all the cords. Soka. Oh, Taran-san was carving here the other day. Where's the cords? No idea. Oi, 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 oi. Okay, camera ready. Next step, move the computer. Okay, I think we can just move this. The mic is plugged onto me. The mic should be still live. Let's just take a stroll. Tell you what, so we can see things, let's do this. Let's take the camera here and biggen it while we do the move. Those are the stairs going up to the outside. Junk everywhere, brushes hanging to dry. Paper stock. This is our active paper stock. We have more paper stock in the back, of course. That's the kitchen corner where we make the sizing. And that's where I was working just now. Let's stroll through. We're coming into the middle room. That's where I'll be working. You can see right through to the front of the building. We have tons of supplies in this room. There's wood blocks, there's pieces of box wood, there's all kinds of supplies. Wood blocks everywhere. There's the room. Put that back down. Let's plug back in. Whoa, that video card is so hot. I'm surprised it's still been working. Camera going back in. I think we're up and running. That's where I'll be hanging the paper, and that's where I'll be working with it. Just 1 second. Let me go and get the paper. Here we are. I'll need to embiggen the font because I can't read the chat from where I am. Yes, yes, yes. Thanks, John. Chat settings. Chat appearance. Embiggen height. Let's go. Now, it's a little bit easy today because the paper size doesn't need, we have clips. We have clips that are a 3-clip or a 2-clip. And, well, yeah, let's do that. Okay, I guess so. Let's use 2 and or 3. First up, Jason's paper. What's the best way to put the camera here? Wow, this paper is so thin, Jason, my God. Hoi, 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 hoi. The printers are gonna have a bird. And then up we go. There are strings hanging on the roof. I'll show you later. I don't have a wide enough camera to show it all together all at once. The Udatsu paper has taken the size very nicely though. I said it's really thin, but it has taken the size beautifully. It looks completely smooth. the later. Okay, that's the test paper out of the way. Jason's paper and the Udat's paper. Now we have the batch of normally Wano paper. It's 20 sheets cut in half for 40 pieces. We're putting them up back to back, so there will be 20 hangings here. There's more than enough room. My rack will take about 40 all in a row. So if you're going to keep track, there are now going to be 20 pairs hanging up now. How's our time? 9:19. Yeah, like I said, show and tell is not happening clearly. We'll just hang this up and we'll say goodbye and sign off. Today's being a Saturday. Monday, the next stream will be Monday morning. It'll be, I presume, a normal stream downstairs. I'm still really not sure what job I'll be doing. We did get another carving job arrived late last night. I had been chatting with Jed back and forth about the next design in the Kyoto Journey series, about what ideas, what to do, this and that, this and that. And the final drawing came through last night. So my job this morning, or sometime during the day today, will be to get that prepared onto a hanshita, thin paper, paste it onto wood, and send it off to our carver in Kobe, Kawasaki-san. She is eagerly waiting for it. And she's actually a bit under the gun now, because this is, that's October's print. And it should have been carved all during August and printed all during September for shipping in October. But we're halfway through August now, getting started on the carving. And it's going to be a complex one to print. It is a rich, deep, deep print. But I myself won't be carving that. That goes down to Kobe. Can't see the chat. Have we heard from Cameron? Not recently. I don't know, maybe half a year ago or so. I don't know, I'm sorry. As far as I know, he's living in Ohio, not too far from other members of his family. Cameron's very much a family man. He's a member of a large family. So he's in Ohio, I guess near his family and her family. And last I heard, he was working in a bilingual job with a company in the game field, either an American company importing games or a Japanese company that was getting localizations done. That's the last I heard, I'm sorry. Maybe he's got 6 kids by now, I don't know. Someone's saying, why won't I carve it? Because that's her job. Kawasaki-san, our carver. We have 4 people on staff doing carving, and I have to keep them all busy with jobs. I can't do everything myself, my God. This year's subscription series, the Kyoto Journey series, have all been carved by Kawasaki-san. That's her job. She's got 2 more to go, and then she will have to get a new assignment, presumably having something to do with next year's subscription series. Hee hee, hee hee. Speaking of which, The paper has come out very, very nice. I am really, really happy. You've heard me say this many times. If you can see the translucency to show, the paper now has just become completely wonderfully translucent. You can see my hand. As this dries now slowly over the day today, it's going to become beautifully smooth and white and flat. Once I finish hanging it up, I'm going to close both doors. I don't need to put on a humidifier. There's more than enough moisture in the air. What we want to happen is for these sheets to dry slowly. Meaning if they're dry by maybe tonight, that's about right. If I left the door open by mistake with a breeze blowing through, they will dry in half an hour. And they will be curly, curly, curly. They will crinkle up. And that crinkling will be next to permanent. We want to dry them slowly and peacefully. What doesn't happen, something I had been afraid of in the early days with doing this, I would have thought that paper like this, coated with a wet glue mixture, I would have thought that as you hung it up, the water would flip to the bottom, it would drip, 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 and the top would be dry and the bottom would be wet. It doesn't happen. There's not so much loose liquid in there. The liquid has been caught in the fibers of the paper. And I think the wicking effect, if for example, if I had left the top part dry, it would wick up water from the rest of the sheet. So not only do they not get extra wet at the bottom, the water, the moisture level smooths out beautifully over the whole sheets. The fibers, the mat of mulberry fibers wicks the water up from everywhere. I never would have, if I'd been sitting trying to figure out how we could do something like this, I never would have thought you could wipe glue on paper, hang it up straight, and then dry it smoothly. I'd be like, yeah, right, come on, drip, 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 drip. Doesn't happen. Is it capillary action? Have I got the wrong scientific term? I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm not speaking science here, I'm just speaking, English. Anybody counting? I don't know where we are. Maybe halfway through. I'm not sure. Come on, Dave, get your fingers, split them. Yeah, Chihara-san should be happy with this paper when she gets it on Monday. It's looking good. There's not too much chitty. We learned that this batch, it's the same, from the same batch of paper as she sent the Great Wave a couple of weeks ago. And you saw me, I complained about it the other day when I was digging on the last stream, but really actually this batch wasn't all that bad. I lost very few sheets. I think we lost 3 sheets. Someone's asking about electrotype, not electroplate, electrotype. We've got a company in Britain. They're quoting me on this. And they're now just waiting for me to send over the first sample for testing. It's on my desk now. The tennis ball is on my side of the court. They have told me what they can do. It sounds okay. It sounds like it might be a job that might be useful for us. They've quoted me prices. It's not cheap, but whatever, considering they're like the last man standing on the planet who are doing this. So it's just waiting now for me to find a day, grab a block here that would make a good test, but that if it did turn out that we lost it, it wouldn't destroy the company. So I can't take a block from one of our subscription series. It'll have to be a random block from something else. And what I might do, I might get one of the blocks that we got from Yahoo Auctions, an older block, and see what they can do with that. So if it got lost in the post, or if they crushed it in their process, whatever, it wouldn't matter. And then if it comes back okay, then I've got some decisions to make. For next year's subscription series, which I think is going to be very, very, very heavily subscribed, do I duplicate the key blocks after carving, before printing? This is the idea, to send each key block after we carve it, to send it to London for reproduction as a metal plate. And then put the original wooden block aside, not use it, just store it. And make the prints from the metal plate, and then wooden color key blocks, wooden color blocks. Because the wood we have these days is so poor that we are finding the key blocks are wearing out after just a couple of hundred copies. And it's crazy to start a beautiful subscription series, get hundreds of subscribers, and then have the key blocks worn out after just a few hundred copies, and have to cancel the series. If we had wood all matching the piece I used for the Great Wave, there'd be no problem. You've seen that. 3,000 plus copies so far. Anyway, I'll report as we keep going. Okay, almost done here. Few sheets. What's left? 6, 4, 2. How many? 4 sheets. 2 more to hang. How's our time? 9:31. Look at this. We've almost hit it exactly without a show and tell. Here's the last pair. I'm going to close off the, again, to help it try and dry as slowly as possible. We've got a little booth. It's all now wrapped in plastic. It's not totally sealed, but it's close enough. It does help stop the air. And as soon as I get off camera here, I will go and close. That's the front window out to the front street. I will close that door, and I will then shut this all down. Okay, gang. Thank you very much. I'm sorry not to have been on top of the chat here in this last little section. Missed all the questions and whatever. Yeah, metal plates. We'll talk about them more once it starts going. Once we get it done, we'll talk about that more. We may do it. We may not do it. We're just testing something as a backup. Okay, Saturday morning here. I'll see you 2 more days. Monday morning. I'm not quite sure what I will be doing on Monday, but we'll do something. Let's zoom in on the camera here to sign off with. How do I do this? I forget. What do we do? Do we come in here? Yeehaw. Little things. Please, small marks. See you guys later. Thank you very much. Thanks again.